Hello dear friends, it's Stefan from Love New York again. I'm here in my beloved New York and today I'm taking you along on one of my absolute favorite walks. We're going to walk from the Meatpacking District to the High Line, to Little Island and to a beach. From there, we'll head up the High Line through Chelsea all the way to Hudson Yards with the vessel and of course the Edge observation deck. So have fun. So yes, we're starting at the famous Chelsea Market. It's a great location, a mix of food market, and you can buy amazing things here. By the way, the owner of Chelsea Market, who bought it for $2.4 billion in 2018, is Google, but they continue to run it under the old motto. If we keep walking now, we'll head a little further down towards the Meatpacking District. Super gentrified. On my first visits, this place looked completely different. Back then, in 2001, you still had to keep an eye on what was happening on the streets to the right and left. That's no longer the case now. Super cool neighborhood, lots of galleries, lots of beautiful places. By the way, we'll take a closer look at this sky bridge later. And as you can see, behind the sky bridge is the High Line. We'll be walking along there in a moment. Something I always find beautiful is Starbucks Reserve. It has nothing to do with the regular Starbucks and is basically the flagship store of Starbucks. You'll find their own cocktails there, there's a roastery inside, and yes, it's absolutely beautiful. The old Homestead Steakhouse on the left side. It's one of the oldest steakhouses here in New York. And for many, it's also one of the best. Now we're here at the Apple Store. Of course, there's also an Apple Store here in the Meatpacking District. And as you can see, it's that typical mix, newly renovated, but with old factory structures. And I always find that fascinating. By the way, that's a hotel, the Gansevoort Hotel, with a rooftop bar and a pool on the roof. Also very nice. But for now, we'll keep heading past the Apple Store toward the High Line. We're here at the level of 14th Street. You can already see it. The bus also says 14th Street. That's exactly where we are, and now we're heading toward the Hudson River. So you can see a bit more. I'll walk around the back of the bus. That's what gives this place its charm. You can see the old cobblestone streets, factory buildings on both sides. And yes, what actually used to be here were the large halls around the city that were used to supply meat and so on. Today, of course, it's all completely different. There's a co-working space here, and that's where we still have our office. Then you have lots of galleries. Can you see me? There are lots of diverse art galleries in here. And now we're coming to a very important person who also has their primary flagship store located right here, situated just right up ahead on the far corner. You can already see the High Line in the background. It's about 11 o'clock in the morning here now. It's really busy. Wonderfully warm. And yes, I'll take you along in just a moment. Up ahead on the corner, you can see what I mean. So many flagship stores that aren't on Fifth Avenue. You'll find Breitling here, you'll find Rolex here, and also the Samsung flagship store. By the way, that's the High Line back there, and we'll head over there in just a bit. And this is a very important person here for New York. I'll go into more detail about that in a moment. And that is Diane von Fürstenberg. She has her flagship store here. A little later, you'll also see why I'm mentioning her again. Because she did something really amazing together with her husband, and that's where we're heading now. You'll like it back there, even if you're not a fan of museums. That's the Whitney Museum, and we'll take a closer look at it in a moment. It's super cool because, of course, it's a museum that's specifically focused on American art. But what you see up there is a rooftop cafe. And yes, if you have one of the New York sightseeing passes and can go up there for free anyway, then it's definitely a nice stop. Because you get a great view. Look here, super cool. This is the Samsung flagship store I mentioned earlier. There used to be a really cool scruffy bar in here, but it's been gentrified away. And this here is the High Line, now really, really close. And that's also a hotel that towers over the High Line. That's the Standard High Line Hotel. By the way, it's often been in the media because, as you can see, those are floor-to-ceiling windows. And how should I put it? People, well, couples, were having a good time, and you could see it quite well from the outside. I don't know if you can see it, but that's, for example, a bathtub, so you can look right in here, for instance. This place also has a rooftop bar called Le Bain. Personally, I didn't find it that nice. It felt a bit cold and uninviting. So that's the Standard High Line. Every now and then, there's a small ice rink here in winter, but they don't do it regularly. You can sit here really nicely. This is the entrance to the Standard High Line. You can see they've really done a beautiful job with it. They have their own restaurant inside, and they also have their own beer garden, which we'll walk past in a moment. And back there, you can already see the One World Observatory. And behind the truck is actually the end, or the beginning, depending on how you look at it, of the High Line. This is the entrance to the beer garden. It's really busy here in the evenings, but right now it's not. As I said, it's still morning, and as you can see, it's a German beer garden. And here are the opening hours for the beer garden. It's really cleverly done. All right, let's cross quickly. Above us, you can see it's beautifully lush and green. Yes, the end of the High Line, there are over 350 different plants, trees, and shrubs here on the High Line. And what looks so completely natural today, as if it has always been here, is only half the truth. Yes, it really has been here for a long time, because these are actually the old supports where the train tracks used to run, bringing trains into the city to deliver goods. And you can still see that to this day. And on the other hand, it almost didn't happen that we could visit the High Line because it was supposed to be torn down. But fortunately, a citizens' initiative was then founded. They call themselves Friends of the High Line. And thanks to many private donations, they made it possible that the High Line was preserved and restored. Now we are able to visit it. Here's where you go up to the High Line. We'll do that in a moment, but first I'll take you a little further along. To the left, just another impression. Now let's look to the left. Sorry, it's a bit loud. Once again, meatpacking. And here we go to the right. First, we pass by the Whitney Museum, and here again you can see the High Line above us. We'll continue to push even much further in this as we explore. Direction. If you take a look right over here as well, this building is the famous Whitney Museum of American Art. Onward, onward, onward. There are also many changing exhibitions, so it's really, really well done. Our destination is just ahead, and first to the left, this is relatively new. And right next to it is also a really, really great park, which you might already know from my video. It's called Little Island. Two really, really beautiful things. And then Diane von Furstenberg comes into play again. But I'll tell you a bit more about that in just a moment. So let's keep going. Now we're heading straight down to the beautiful beach. You heard that correctly, believe it or not, though it's not exactly the kind of sandy beach we're probably used to seeing. But I honestly thought it was pretty funny. So right now we're just waiting here patiently for our turn to cross over. We're now exactly at on the west side. It's always really important that if you want to cross, you actually press the button and not just wait. And here too you can see, I don't know if you can see the tip. Back there above it is the One World Trade Center. I'll try to zoom in a bit. Back there. But first we want to keep going in this direction. Let's go. Quickly across and further to the left, there's something else for you. At the second crossing, which is also really great, look to the left. That's our destination back there. The Edge observation platform. Let's cross quickly. So always look left and right when you're crossing. There are lots of cyclists here and they have the right of way. All right, folks, now the time has come. We're here. And this is all brand new here. And we are on the very edge. This entire peninsula. And this is a beautiful sandy beach in New York, right on the Hudson River. Pretty awesome, right? So, my dears, look at what I'm doing here. Let's see how hot it gets now. So cool. Look, if you always look along the beach here, you can also see other tracks from the seagulls that walk along here. So cool. This was newly built. It has a solid structure underneath, not like the other piers, but really a solid structure. There's sand on top here, and then you can look down the Hudson River all the way to the World Observatory. And over there, you can see the Statue of Liberty. I've always wanted to do that, holding flip-flops in my hand, pointing over there. This is our beautiful public beach right here in New York City, situated directly on the Hudson River. As I mentioned before, it's a lovely pier located just south of Little Island, which is exactly where we're heading next. And it is just super cool, right? Especially with this weather, it's sensational. There are also other things you can do here. The geese, of course, also feel quite at home here, especially when there are water dispensers right next to it. So cool. But now we're making our way further along towards Little Island. We're climbing up to the next level now, and I'm going to show you exactly what's up here already. Where we're planning to go. We really want to head over there right now. You might already be able to see the truly amazing and unique shapes of those massive concrete pillars. And now we're walking, starting right here from our local beach, specifically from the beautiful Gansevoort Beach, and then moving even further towards the horizon north. So first we're heading back to this super big street. As I said, your beach is right here. So cool. With real beautiful soft sand. Super awesome. But now we're walking even further back. As you can see, we've walked past the hotel again. That's the Whitney Museum. And now you can see the beginning of the High Line again. And now we're turning left. We are now heading directly towards Abzorn, towards the north. And it's just a very few steps, as I mentioned earlier, until you finally arrive at the destination, Little Island. Really, really great. By the way, what's also nice, which you'll see in a moment, right next to Little Island, so even more. One pier further north, you can already see Pier 57 in the back. That's a rooftop here. You can go up there for free. Here's my tip in advance. If you don't want to walk past the entrance and all the way around, just walk straight there. No, the entrance is right on the green side that you see here. So directly on this side. Last time I walked all the way around and was already wondering if you could even get up here. What's going on here? We're already in the beautiful Hudson River Park here. No, it's right there. And just look at how amazing that looks. And now, the legendary fashion designer Diane von Furstenberg comes into play once again. Diane von Furstenberg and her husband, the media mogul Mr. Barry Diller, have a foundation together. And with a very generous donation, they were the ones who actually made it possible for this beautiful pier right here to be built in the first place. That's how Little Island Park came to be. I also thought their reasoning was really great. That's just so typically American. If you've achieved something here and you have the means to give back, you should do it. And that's completely normal here. That's how the High Line survived. Or even became possible in the first place, the High Line Park. And that's also how this beautiful park, Little Island, came to be. That's how it was created too. It already looks really, really beautiful from here. By the way, there are 132 of these concrete stilts, which are tulip-shaped. I actually think they look almost like coconuts. They were built on the old piers, right here on the Hudson River. Absolutely beautiful. And there you can see Pier 57. And up there you can go up as well, up there. And from there you have another beautiful view directly of Little Island. You can look all the way down the Hudson River. So it's really, really great. Downstairs you can get something to eat. Down in the corner there's a restaurant with small snacks. I'll turn to the left again, which is actually to the right. Here you can see once again for a better orientation. I'm looking toward the Meatpacking District. That's the famous Standard High Line Hotel. And now we're going to continue our walk on Little Island. I'm going to change the perspective again. This way, you will be able to see just a little bit more of the details clearly. It's really beautiful here too. If you look to the left again on the way, that's the skyline of New Jersey, basically on the other side of the Hudson River. Here you can see One World Trade Center down below and take in the stunning panoramic view looking out toward the historic Meatpacking District area. Now let us turn our attention back to the beautiful Little Island. Now we're here. What you'll notice, which is really great, is that in the middle there are two things. An atrium where free events also take place. There are also paid events, but it's an absolutely fantastic location, as you'll see in a moment. In the middle, you can get something to eat, and there are also sun sails stretched out. Really beautiful. And you can explore these different corners here, climb various hills. Each corner is designed a little differently. Here you can see what I meant with the sun sails that are here. You see there are sandwiches, salads, etc. And here you can walk up now. If you take a look over here, you can see once again the magnificent architectural shapes of these intricate concrete walkways. So, where should we go up first? I would say, let's take a moment to go up these stairs right here first. Taking a quick look at the view, moving along a little bit faster now. So, it's currently only 34 degrees Celsius out here with very high humidity. It's the kind of weather where you just love to hop up here. Oh, thank you very much. Then we continue on, going higher and higher. Really well done. And it keeps going up. Here you can see the view again. Number one, there's the beach. You can see it by the terrain there or by that structure. And now, I am actually going even higher than I was before. Higher, higher, higher. And here we come to the beautiful lookout. That already looks absolutely amazing. Thank you. That really does look amazing. That's our destination later. The edge. Wow, out of breath. Now we keep going. And this is a really, really great view you have from here. I also showed you this in the last video. So let's take a look first. Towards the south, towards One World Trade Center. Here you can see it, the lookout. Simply brilliant. Really beautiful view. Here too, I'll zoom in again. Really, really great. So another quick change so you can see that it's really me walking around here. It's really absolutely beautiful. This lookout is truly amazing because the view is just spectacular. And as I said, it's all artificial here, and yet it looks so beautiful, just really, really, really wonderful. And here you can see the rooftop behind me again. And as I said, you can go up there for free. So let's continue. Now we want to go up here. Now let's keep going. As I said, you can really try out all sorts of different routes. I'm going to take this path down here now. Zack, zack, zack. Onward. Then I'll head to the beautiful atrium, which you'll see in a moment. And as I mentioned, that's where the events take place. What's really awesome is that when there are events here in the evening, you can at the same time enjoy the sunset. It's absolutely amazing. See, you can sit right here. With this beautiful view, you can see the Empire peeking through over there. So cool. That is the Edge observation deck. And the sun sets back there. It's just a really awesome view. If you want to see even more of Little Island, I have a really, really detailed video about it. I think I walked around here about 40 times because it's just so beautiful. Here's another look down from here. And you can actually hop down these rocks here too. Hop down. I'm going to do that right now. Hopefully the camera will hold up. Let's keep going. And now we're already down. That's where we came in. A little sneak peek in that direction again. And as you can see, the whole thing is just beautifully designed, really wonderfully done. And now we're making our way back down to the beautiful and iconic High Line. So yes, please feel free to take your time to explore and enjoy a little more of your stay here. It's really, really nicely done. You can really, really enjoy yourself here. By the way, what you see here is written on the side. This is an oyster market, and they're part of the Billion Oyster Project. This is a really cool project. A lot of people have gotten involved. Even restaurants have agreed to donate their oyster shells, which they serve as seafood in their restaurants instead of throwing them away. And these are used to cultivate real oysters again. And also to release them because they play an extremely important role or function in filtering water. And that's the plan, and there are already some early results. They've actually been doing this for several years now. You see, that's how you create an oyster project. Really, really awesome. Even my beloved Grand Banks, which is very close by, is also taking part. So a super great idea. But for now, let us shift our focus and head right back over to the beautiful Highline Park once again. Oh, there's one more thing I wanted to show you. This is really funny. Here you can make music. Look, from Germany. Richter, Spiegel, Geritte. Let's keep going. So we're moving on, as I said, heading towards the High Line. It is incredibly hot and extremely humid today, as you can probably tell just by looking up at the hazy sky right now. But anyway, it doesn't really matter because that is just classic New York. So our goal is that over there. We want to get over there. We'll probably catch the next wave. And then I'll take you with me onto the High Line and show you a few things from Chelsea. The neighborhood that, so to speak, the High Line spans. Down here is actually one of the oldest neighborhoods in New York, the Meatpacking District. And then we'll smoothly go across Chelsea to visit one of the newest and most vibrant neighborhoods in the city of New York, namely the Hudson Yards. Now let's take another closer look at the beautiful little island. Can you film that vertically? Film it. Yeah. Like that. You can see again what I meant earlier. Always be careful here. Lots of cyclists. Lots of pedestrians. It's also great if you want to quickly head downtown by bike. With the city bike, with New York's bike share program, this is like a kind of highway for bicycles. And then you're actually pretty fast. Riding from the financial district to, for example, Times Square. So now it looks clear. Again, here you have to press the button first, otherwise you can't cross over. And that's where we want to go now, up onto the High Line. Up there you'll see people later on, but right now, as I said, it's still a bit early. That is the wonderful cafe that the Whitney Museum of American Art has to offer its visitors, and it is truly delightful. We have to go this way. We're walking this familiar way again, taking a full loop around the iconic Standard High Line Hotel. We are heading right back to the very beginning of the elevated High Line, which you have already had a chance to see for yourself. And then we walk through shade and greenery, and that's going to be really, really great. You can just relax. By the way, unfortunately, there's a fence in front of it here. That's a bar. It's called Breast Monkey. I don't know if you can see it. I'll hold the camera here a bit longer. There, up there is the bar. You can relax up there in the evening. Just sit for a while. It's kind of a, depending on who you ask, it's also called a low-key bar, so a really relaxed bar. Now let's go left here. Here too, you can see there are still some remnants from the meat packing, that is the meat processing industry. In fact, there are still a few small warehouses here. You can see here, there's Weichsel beef over there, so it's really quite funny here. That's the Breast Monkey where you can go upstairs. Here you can see the Standard High Line again. Here too, you can see again how you can look into the rooms. And now we're hopping to the southernmost entrance of the High Line. We're now here at the level of 12th Street corner. Washington Street, just for orientation again, you saw that earlier and I showed it to you. That's the Samsung Mega Store. Next to it is the Standard High Line. You can see the little corner here. And now we're going to the left. Oops. I turned around too quickly there, that was too hard. And now we're finally going up there. Right here too. You can see various different cuts of beef once again. There are still a few quaint and tiny little shops scattered around here. That's a really awesome combination, and that's what I like about the Meatpacking District. A great mix of the old and the gentrified, the new New York. Down here there used to be Bubby's, a great restaurant, which you'll also see. You'll notice there's really often a change of shops here. There used to be such a lovely restaurant here, which I once recommended to you as well, back in the day. Unfortunately, it's no longer here. We were here earlier too, only this time we went forward to the right. And now we're going up here. The High Line itself is an impressive 2.6 kilometers long and was officially opened in 3 separate stages. The first in 2009, and just recently a brand new section was built. By the way, you can see here, look, there are lots of High Line tours, even free tours. Really cool. They're basically tip-based, but technically they're free tours. You'll be told a lot about the High Line on these tours. All year round, even in autumn and winter. And now we're up top. Oh, how beautiful. So as you can see, we've just arrived at the southern end. We've arrived here, and now we'll walk the entire length of the High Line. Here there's also an area with a bit of water on the ground. This is also in honor of Jane von Fürstenberg and her husband Lila. Then we keep going. Upwards with lots of viewpoints to the right and left. And this is the section that was only recently added. It's called the Spur, and that's also new. And this is where we end. And here is the vessel, the Hudson Yards. That's our destination. So let's go. Here too, you can already see everything is so green. Really beautiful. And what you'll notice in here are the old railway tracks every now and then, because this really used to be an old railway line. Oh, here they are on the other side. This really was an elevated railway track. And as I said, luckily it was preserved thanks to the initiative and not torn down. And now it's become one of the most popular free attractions. I can tell you, as I said, it's about 34 degrees outside. Now you see we have shade here. That will happen more often. It's much, much cooler. Really pleasant. What's also great is that there is rotating art. So public art that you can see exhibited here. That's actually a fact. There's something different to see with every visit. This time it's this object, which we'll go check out in a moment. You can really see, it's amazing, so many plants of all different kinds. A little fun fact on the side. The first gardener the High Line had was actually German. So, and here you can really see, oh, that's awesome. Look how cool that is. And as I said, the exhibits are always changing. There's always something different to see. And now we're directly under the hotel. Right under the Standard High Line Hotel. We're directly underneath it. And now we're going to keep walking for a bit. There's more art again. And as I said, that's always changing too. It never gets boring here. And what I find really awesome about the High Line is that you have these amazing sight lines of the city. Again, here you can see the old train tracks. The Empire State Building peeks through the buildings on the right. On the left we see Little Island. There you can see it, that's Little Island back there. We'll get a better look at it in just a moment. It's really an absolute, architecturally, it's just absolutely awesome. Again, here, I'll go to the left one more time. Here you can see it, that's Little Island. We were just there, and you can also see how close everything is. It's all right next to each other. So that's Little Island over there. It's just cool, really, the new New York up there. We're walking along the old New York. Absolutely great. Here. This is a protected area, it's covered. There are also regular art exhibitions here that change from time to time. Sometimes there are little art markets where you can buy a few things. There are also small food stands here. Right now it looks like they're doing some renovations here. Really great. So, as I mentioned before, it truly never gets boring to walk along this path. There is always something fascinating and brand new to discover every single time. If you're wondering what those big nets on the left are, those are the Chelsea piers. You can play golf there and just hit balls. It's out onto the green. There are always amazing views from the High Line. As I said, in some parts, the highest point, I think they say, is 7.5 meters. But when I look at this here and look down, it feels like a lot more than 7.5 meters, if you ask me. By the way, we walked along here earlier. There's the Apple Store. Then we went around here. Here's the Diane von Fürstenberg mega store. Walked all the way around. Now we're up here. Hi. Let's keep going. Here too you can see the old tracks. And this entire section up ahead is dedicated to Diane von Furstenberg. And also to her husband, because they made sure that little island back there, I'll zoom in a bit more for you so you can see little island, that it was even possible in the first place. And there's the rooftop again where you can go up. So with the shape. So exactly this part is called the Diller Fürstenberg. Sundeck is kind of between 14th and 15th Street, just for orientation. And that's really great. I'm going to try it out in a moment because it's really warm. And now flip-flops off here too. And I'm walking across here. Oh, that's nice. Cool. Yeah, that's pleasant. Like I said, it's really scorching here. Oh, this is nice. A scorching 34 degrees right now. And here again, just over to our right, you can see the next spot in Hain. It offers a really, really spectacular view of the iconic sky bridge from this vantage point, which we saw earlier. Back then we were down below, but this time the sky bridge is really close. And behind it is the Chelsea Market. And here too we find another shelter where you can find safety. You can get something to eat, something to drink. So there are refreshments available, so to speak. I'm going to do that in a moment too. The reason for this is that it is actually incredibly super warm and humid right here in this spot. Right here too, perfectly suited for this weather. There is local art, there is ice cream, and you can also grab something to eat. And I think we're going to get ourselves something cold here first. So, is it okay? We'll continue in a moment. Don't feel like going there? All right, let's keep going. There we go. Yeah, I have to say that's really quite awesome and truly impressive to see. I'll change the perspective again. All right, now we can continue. Oh, with a real refreshment. My goodness, you all know this feeling too. Art very famous. All right, but now we're moving on. We're about to reach one of the most beautiful viewpoints, and you can already see the edge back there. That's our destination. Yeah, as you can see, everyone here is fanning themselves. It's hot. Oh, it really is, really warm. Oh, we're coming up to the most beautiful viewpoints, and I read about it earlier. Unfortunately, we can't go there right now. There's construction going on in that part, but that's no problem at all. We'll just hop down for a moment. As you can see, there's construction going on right now. It's just today, and we're simply going to take the stairs down now. And down the stairs, but I wanted to show you something from Chelsea anyway, so this works out quite well. As you can see now, we're actually on the other side at the northern edge of Chelsea Market. You can see it here. We're now going to continue down the High Line and then walk here just a little further along. You'll find it right beneath the High Line. But as I said, that's no problem at all. I actually recommend that anyway if you have a bit more time to stroll along, to go up and down more often. You can see it here. also pretty cool. We use this station quite often too. Here's a great one of the many city bike stations nearby. That way you can quickly cycle to the High Line and then take a walk along the High Line. Oh, it's just wonderful. We're at 17th Street now. That's where we are now. The High Line goes all the way up to 30th Street. 4 more streets to go. I guess we'll be there in about 10 more minutes. There's a really great pizza place here on the corner of 17th. And here you can see up there is the construction. They're redoing it. You can actually sit here really nicely. Normally there are steps and you look in that direction and have this amazing view. We are now situated directly in the vibrant heart of Chelsea. And this historic neighborhood is widely celebrated and globally recognized for being a premier contemporary art district. That essentially means you have an incredible abundance of galleries scattered all throughout this area, with tons of diverse exhibitions lining both sides of the street, ranging from the very trendy and exceptionally well-known gallerists to the most promising up-and-coming new artists. You will truly find absolutely everything your heart desires right here. It's also great here to see how free the architects were in choosing their building styles. You'll notice that really no building looks like another as you walk along here. It's simply beautiful. This spot is also photographed very often. And now we're going to keep strolling along. We are going to continue our journey by heading further uptown, passing through the vibrant city streets, and then once we eventually reach the intersection at 23rd Street, we will make our way back onto the elevated pathways of the High Line. It's truly a very pleasant area. You'll also see lots of galleries there, and it's always nice. It's never boring. There are always lots of changing exhibitions. It's no coincidence that this is one of the most prestigious areas. We met at the airport yesterday. We always run into each other twice in New York, that's for sure. That's the case here too. Here too you could look to the left. I think it's so beautiful. You keep looking over at the High Line again and again. Now we're going to head left for a bit. The reason for this is that we really want to go back up though, to the area around 23rd Street once again. Very important, especially if you have some difficulty walking or are out with a stroller. Not every entrance has an elevator, but many of them do. You can always find the latest information on the High Line website about which entrances are open, which are closed, and where there is an elevator. Most importantly, whether the elevator is working. That information is kept very up to date there. We are finally getting much closer to our final destination. Impressions? It's always fascinating to see how many vehicles you can actually park here. As I said, this is the High Line. How many vehicles you can fit here, and you can see you can stack 4 levels on top of each other. So now we're higher up, 20th Street, and perhaps we could try. Honestly, it is quite a challenge to even just climb all the way up here already. Huge truck, you can't really see it right now. I'll walk around here. If we're lucky, we can already go up here. Let's see. No, we actually have to go to 23rd Street. We still can't go up here, unbelievable, but that just means I can show you even more. Lots of galleries as mentioned. I think here, just here in the Chelsea Art District, there were about 30 different galleries. There you can even book guided tours at some places, and at others you can just walk in. So, as I mentioned earlier, if you are someone who is truly interested in the world of art, then you should definitely make it a point to stop by here. What you see to my right is, in terms of style, hold on, I'm going to change the zoom again. This here is a hotel. That's the Highline Hotel over there. Wonderfully old school. We are now getting very close to the famous Brooklyn Diner. Wait, no, that is not the Brooklyn Diner, not at all. I was completely mistaken. Brooklyn Diner, I'll get to that in a moment. A beautiful diner, also with a huge mural right in front of it. Here too, you really see art of every kind, every facet. There's truly something for everyone. Let's keep going. Straight ahead. I'll just weave my way through here. Great, there it is. I've been to that diner several times myself. It's really delicious. There. I'll remember the name in a moment. Hudson, your Empire Diner. It's called Empire Diner. Man, now I've got it. Cool location. So a delicious, delicious diner. But even just the mural is really, really beautiful. We're at 22nd Street now, so we could basically turn left and get back onto the High Line, and it just looks amazing, doesn't it? That's a great place. I really like it a lot, Tiapol. Here you can eat amazing tapas. And especially if you, like I said, it's at the corner of 22nd, 10th Street, especially if you're doing one of the boat tours that depart from the Chelsea piers, like the Bateau Dinner Cruise, or my beloved tours from Classic Harbour Line. It's right here. If we turn left, you'll be there immediately. It's always such a great place where I love to be. If you still have a bit of time, want to grab a small bite, and then, for example, do an evening tour later, it's truly a really, really wonderful place. Again, there's an art gallery in front of us, and now we can go back up. And that's what I meant earlier. You can really see that the style of the houses is always different along the highlights. And that was actually planned that way, so they could really let their creativity run wild. And that's just totally awesome. So it really looks super cool. Now, 23rd Street, this is one of the few streets New York has where the avenues, or rather the streets that run from the East River to the Hudson River, have lanes going in both directions. Otherwise, they're usually one-way streets, and that's the case, for example, with 23rd Street. There's a lot going on there, and now we're finally heading back up. You see art on every corner, even down on the ground. And now I'll take you with me. You can see there's not much left. It's really nice and cozy, warm here. It's great that there's a little refreshment like this everywhere here. As I mentioned at the beginning, you can see the various changing art exhibitions here as well. This time too, there's something different to see than last time. So we have to. Right here too, the panoramic view is absolutely awesome. Way up there is the famous edge at Hudson Yards, and that is exactly where we are heading right now. What you'll notice as you walk along is that I doubt many people actually live on the exact same floors that are level with the High Line itself, because you can look right in. And if you do have a floor at that level, most people here have just closed it off directly. A lot of them are just investment properties. Here again you can see changing art installations, and it actually happens very, very regularly that you see a different exhibition here. Here it continues seamlessly. You see the old tracks, so many different plants. It's absolutely brilliant. Now we're about to reach the next lookout from which you can get a beautiful view down onto the streets from above. It is just so incredibly beautiful here. Above all else, you will certainly notice, just as I mentioned at the very beginning of our walk, that it is really quite noticeably cooler when you are walking right here in the refreshing shade under these tall trees. And here again, you get a wonderful view looking out through all the lush greenery. And that is exactly the reason why I find it quite hard to believe it is only 7.5 meters. Because to me, it honestly feels so much higher than that. It is quite clear to see that there aren't just small plants here anymore, but actually real, fully grown trees by now. As I mentioned before, it opened back in 2009. So as of today, that is a full 15 years that all of these plants have had to really grow and establish themselves here. So now we come to the lookout I mentioned. It's really beautiful. To the left is the next gallery, and from here you can look down toward the Hudson River. But now we want to go to the right. We'll head down here, and there's also a great lookout here. You can sit down here even in a bit of shade and look out over the bustling city streets directly below you. You can also see the New Yorker Hotel, and the two spires behind it indicate that this is near Bryant Park. Let's keep going. Right now at this moment, for the upcoming several meters ahead, we are now almost at the very northern end of the Highline Park. Those two certainly have the right idea as well. Picking up a little something to take away, finding a nice spot to sit down right here in the lush greenery, and just taking a moment to relax to fully recharge their batteries. Here, new plants are being planted right now. You can see the Highline staff at work. Planting is still an ongoing process. Even today, they regularly collect donations. I also regularly take part in the local donation drives or frequent calls to contribute. And here again, we see another stunning example of modern architecture. It looks really spacey and futuristic. And as I said, it's unlike any of the other buildings you've seen before, really just beautiful. And here again, art. You actually see that quite often if you look to the right and left and keep your eyes open. And now we're already really close to the edge. Up there you can see the little corner right at the top on the left. You can even see a few people standing on it. I'll zoom in, let's see if you can see it. Up there you can see a few people standing on it, and that's where we're headed. Gladly. It was actually checked just about 4 days ago. Thank you very much. Now I am right here with my entire professional crew, and I am sure you could probably hear that too. We'll definitely see him on the plane. Yes, gladly, this is going to be the new video about the Highline, just walking along with views to the right and left. Interesting? Look, Leon, you can see the Empire State Building peeking through there, so we'll definitely see each other. Bye. We're almost at our destination. Once again, right here, you can clearly see the historic railway tracks, those weathered old tracks stretching out alongside the various different industrial buildings. Lemon. That is absolutely great, really, and truly amazing. It is just wonderful. It's really, really remarkably well done. I always find that to be truly wonderful. Up ahead on the right is the new part of the High Line called the Spur, which also has a connection that extends even further, heading directly towards the Midtown area. The left part then comes to a complete stop at... Thanks, just got my drink back. That part reminds you of the vessel, but unfortunately you still can't go up there. But it's supposed to reopen this year. It's really nice here again. And as I said, it's supposed to open this year. It was closed for a long time, and I'm curious to see what the new security concept will look like, which was announced. Then you'll be able to go up there again. Until then, you can still check out the vessel. You can actually go inside, and that's exactly what I'm going to do with you now. There you can already see it, and you can see that work is being done on it. That means they're probably building something. I don't know if what they're constructing in front is to prevent any more accidents from happening. The building you see to the left is called the Shed. That one is a huge event space and art exhibition venue. It can be extended outward, so you have both an open and a closed area. That's also really interesting to see. So in case you're wondering why this building is built on wheels, you'll see that again here in a moment. A quick look. I also made a video about this. This is Mercado Little Spain, a food market located right here at Hudson Yards. This place is called The Shops, and at Christmas everything inside is decorated super festively. It's really beautiful, and there's a food market inside. Of course, there's a lot of shopping, but it's mostly in the very high-end segment. Okay, there's also an H&M inside, but overall it's more upscale. And as mentioned, here you can see the vessel, a beautiful sculpture, absolutely brilliant. Next to it is the Equinox Hotel. You might see next to it, there are people sitting or lying down. The Equinox has a pool, and here you can see the High Line path again. If you go to the right, I'll take you along for a little bit more, and this connector to the train station is new, and it leads to Edge, Vessel, and the Shed. I'm just going to head over there, just quickly go inside, and then I'll come back. It's just a really short walk, and then we'll be right back at the vessel. I'm going to walk a bit faster, and as you can see, this is, as I said, the newest section. You can even work out here when it's 34 degrees. If I do that, you'll see how the camera suddenly falls out of my hand. This new pedestrian connector to the train station is the latest infrastructure addition designed to serve the local metropolitan area and the regional transit network. The High Line This is one of the newest, and I honestly think it is also one of the most frequently photographed outdoor art installations you will find on Instagram today. As we walk along here on the High Line, you will very soon see exactly why it is so popular. Actually, you can already see it right now. It is definitely a striking, vibrant color that catches the eye from every angle. It really is a remarkable sight to behold in this urban setting. From this vantage point, here you can see the stunning panoramic view looking towards the south again. And here it stretches out much further into the distance. And this is the connector that then leads you inside a little further towards Midtown, which I also wanted to show you. It's really awesome. You can see it here now. I'll zoom in upwards. So it continues here, as you can see, but I'll go back in a moment because I wanted to show you this. Look up. Here you can also see the glass surface. Take a look over at the magnificent structure of the Edge. There it is right now, and you can clearly see all the people standing on it. Do you see that sharp corner way up there? That is exactly where we are going to be heading as well in just a few moments. So, my dears, we are now slowly approaching the very end of our somewhat more detailed and leisurely walk here along the historic High Line. As I said, it's actually absolutely one of my favorite parks right here in the heart of New York City. I've walked this path so many times over the years, well, and it never gets dull or repetitive. There's always a lot to discover on the right and left. There's always something happening on the High Line, and as I said, the different perspectives make sure that even on your 3rd, 4th, 5th, or maybe even 20th visit, you'll still say it's truly a fantastic, fantastic attraction. And as I mentioned, it's one of the most popular, and in my opinion, rightfully so, free attractions that New York has to offer. That squeaking sound you just heard, I've now completely finished up my refreshing drink, and we're finally making our way back to the shed. As you can already see right over there in the distance, things are looking quite busy. By the way, what's also really great, if you ever want to do something truly special for a very special occasion, above the Edge observation deck, there's a restaurant. The restaurant is called Peak, and if you go to the restaurant, you can also visit the Edge observation deck for free. So you can kind of justify the price a bit since it's not exactly cheap. But the view is just incredible, and the food is really, really delicious. You can see the shed, and you can also see those huge wheels down there showing how it can be moved. It actually moves in that direction. Here you have the vessel. And another great structure. As I said, you used to be able to go all the way to the top. Tragically, quite a few desperate people decided to jump from the very top of the structure. And as a direct result of these events, the entire area was permanently closed to the public. And as I mentioned, it's supposed to reopen this year with a new safety concept. And we're all very curious to see what this new safety concept will be. As I can see from the arches there, look here, you can see arches attached on the outside. So on the outside you see arches. I suspect they're going to stretch a net over it. Do you see that? There are new arches added, these metal pillars. And that will probably... Yes, down there you can already see, oh, actually it's being installed right now. Here there are kind of very coarse meshed nets in front of it. This is, so to speak, the new safety concept. Yeah, I actually think it's nice because visually it doesn't restrict things too much and you can still look inside somehow, but still no one can throw themselves down. So as I said, we've now reached the northern end of the High Line. Here are the shops inside. This is the entrance. Also, if you want to go up to the Edge observation deck, which we're about to do. And here again, an impression of the best. So, my dears, that was my tour along the High Line from the Meatpacking District. Starting at Chelsea Market, we first passed by the High Line. We went to the beach, we visited Little Island, then strolled along the High Line, briefly went down again, wandered a bit through Chelsea, and then headed back up 23rd Street to finally end up here. We're roughly at the level of 30th Street. Behind me, as mentioned, is the vessel. If you enjoyed the video, you know the drill. I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. Leave us a like if you want us to make more of these. You'll find many of them in our app, and if you want all the spots, even a few more in addition to my walk, you can purchase them in the app. The app itself is free and packed with tons of tips, so go ahead and download it right away. And of course, as you already know, it's brand new. If you'd like to support us, we have a channel membership. It costs less than a coffee here in New York City. I'd be absolutely thrilled, and as always, I wish you lots of fun in New York. Enjoy it, come back with lots and lots of new impressions, and yes, we'll see each other in the next video. Bye, this is Stefan from Love of New York.